All right, so New Jersey Democrats are defending their actions of storming Newark ICE facility on Friday that ultimately resulted in the arrest of the city's mayor.
Madeline Rivera joins us with more from Washington. Hey, Maddie.
Good morning, guys. DHS says more arrests could be coming as they accuse three Democratic members of Congress of assaulting federal agents at an ICE facility in Newark. The lawmakers say it's the agents that escalated the situation.
People just are afraid of this un-American hyperactivity, this weaponization of law enforcement, and the consistent lying.
They made this a violent scene that we were unfortunately all a part of, and it's something that should really shock all Americans.
The lawmakers say they wanted to conduct an oversight visit at the ICE facility when a scuffle broke out with federal agents. DHS is pointing to this video that they say shows at least one representative, LaMonica McIver, in the red, shoving her way past a DHS agent. They say she body slammed the officer, an accusation McIver rejects.
There's no video that supports me body slamming anyone. We were simply there to do our job, therefore oversight visit.
DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin responded this morning.
Body slamming, body ramming, striking an officer, pushing, shoving, whatever you want to call it, it sure looks like assault. People should watch that and decide for themselves. There's no place for that, especially members of Congress. It is so beneath them to be treating law enforcement like this.
Meantime, Newark's Mayor Ras Baraka, who's running for New Jersey governor, is facing trespassing charges for allegedly ignoring warnings to leave the property. Baraka argues he was on public property when he was detained. The lawmakers were eventually able to tour the ICE facility after the confrontation. McLaughlin says the situation could have been avoided had the members of Congress followed protocol and given 24 hours.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachachak Wadash. Double honors to the head apostle, Nettles, a great millstone, who rule well and teach well, and Shalom to the elect. Just a real quick video. I want to touch on this. These members of Congress, these lawmakers, protests outside of a Newark ICE facility in New Jersey, which ultimately led to, the arrest of certain individuals. And hey, man, America, Babylon the Great is crumbling right before your eyes. Right before your eyes, this place is systematically being dismantled and disrupted by the Most High Yahweh. And as you see, the so-called black woman, she's completely out of control, man. Completely out of control. She has no fear at all. She don't care if you got a gun, you got a taser. She don't care if you're a police officer, you're an agent, you're the FBI. She don't care if there's a tank back there. She don't care if there's 50 to 100 men. All right, you see her just push this ICE law enforcement official out the way like he wasn't even there. Yo, linebacker style. And she's about as big as a linebacker. I bet she weighs upwards of 300 pounds. And here it is, she trying to justify herself, saying she didn't body slam. Okay, you maybe didn't body slam the law enforcement official, but but you damn sure assaulted the law enforcement official. You can't just push a police officer, out of the way, push him to the side, and not get arrested. Okay. Matter of fact, let's play the full clip again.
All right, so New Jersey Democrats are defending their actions of storming Newark ICE facility on Friday that ultimately resulted in the arrest of the city's mayor.
Madeline Rivera joins us with more from Washington. Hey, Maddie.
Good morning, guys. DHS says more arrests could be coming as they accuse three Democratic members of Congress of assaulting federal agents at an ICE facility.
And Salakia for the echo. I'm not sure why my screen recorder app is doing this. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with this new app.
The lawmakers say it's the agents that escalated the situation.
People just are afraid of this un-American hyperactivity, this weaponization of law enforcement, and the consistent lying.
They made this a violent scene that we were unfortunately all a part of, and it's something that should really shock all Americans.
The lawmakers say they wanted to conduct an oversight visit at the ICE facility when a scuffle broke out with federal agents. DHS is pointing to this video that they say shows at least one representative, Lamonica McIver, in the red.
She said, hey, I'm leading the way. Follow me. Get behind me. Get behind me. She said, we going to go in here and we going to inspect this facility. Ain't nothing y'all going to do about it. Okay? And these are people that are experts in the law. All right? These are members of Congress. These are lawmakers. People with high-level positions in society, so to speak. Right?
Way past a DHS agent. They say she body slammed the officer, an accusation McIver rejects.
There's no video that supports me body slamming anyone. We were simply there to do our job. Therefore, oversight visit.
DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin responded to this.
Yeah, so she's trying to justify her actions of, Beauregarding and trying to break through the front lines of these ICE law enforcement officials in front of, mind you, this is in front of an ICE facility, right? Let's go to Proverbs 7:11. She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Yeah, we know the so-called black woman is the loudest thing on the earth, all right? And not only was it the shoving that probably led to, the arrest of her and, various other people that were with her, but she was loud as hell, okay? Probably screaming to the top of her goddamn lungs, right? Let's go to Sirach 26 and verse 27. It says, a loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought away to drive away the enemies. Yeah, the voice, the mouth on the so-called black woman is a weapon, okay? Yeah, like I said, this place, America, Babylon the Great, is crumbling right before your eyes, and the majority of our people, they just don't see it, okay? Let's go to Isaiah 19 and verse 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Yeah, so you see that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is dividing this place. And the very people that are in power concerning these elite Edomite banking families, their own people are set up against them. So everything is being destabilized over here in Babylon the Great. And these wicked elites, they're actually pushing for these various different things that you're seeing on the earth. They're pushing for the stability of the system, of the people, so they can bring about a new system. They can bring about a new way of life, so to speak. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to wizards, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, right? So, you see the people, they're angry about the various different things that are happening concerning law enforcement, concerning these executive orders, concerning the government, okay? They're mad that their vote wasn't a good one. Not that it mattered that you voted or not. These people are angry at the false promises that were made to them amid before the presidential election, that jobs were going to be better, the minimum wage was going to rise up, this was going to happen and that was going to happen. And once they get elected president, which this is very redundant, it happens year after year after year, okay, every presidential term, all these promises are made, and when they get put in that presidential seat, okay, They might do a couple of the things they said that they do, but from the majority standpoint, they don't do none of that shit they said they were going to do, and they had no intent of it. Moreover, the strings are being pulled, and they're on the end of that string, and on the at the top of that string are these wicked elite Edomite banker families who call the shots, who employ presidents, who tell these presidents what to do, what not to do, what executive orders to push through, what laws to make, right? It says, and the Egyptians will I give into the hand of a cruel Lord, right? And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. You know, we believe that Donald Trump is Emperor Nero coming back in reincarnation. And it's going to get worse. This is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Hyperactivity, this weaponization of law enforcement, and the consistent lying.
They made this a violent scene that we were unfortunately all part of, and it's something that should really shock all Americans.
The lawmakers say they wanted to conduct an oversight visit at the ICE facility when a scuffle broke out with federal agents. DHS is pointing to this video that they say shows at least one representative, LaMonica McIver, in the red, shoving her way past a DHS agent. They say she body-slammed the officer, an accusation McIver rejects.
There's no video that supports me body slamming anyone. We were simply there to do our job. Therefore, oversight visit.
DHS spokesperson.
Yeah, so a simple oversight visit led to the arrest of 3 lawmakers, led by, the so-called black woman in this, red suit jacket. Okay, and the men of our nation have just become weak. The so-called Negro, Latino, Native American man has just, on a majority standpoint, have just become weak. They're so comfortable with following right behind the so-called black woman. They're so comfortable with being led by the so-called black woman, taking orders from the so-called black woman, taking advice from the so-called black woman, okay? And not just the so-called black woman, but women in general, okay? You see Esau standing next to the nigger woman. Hey, he got a very disgruntled look on his face, man. And our people think change is gonna come in a beneficial way to our people. Change is definitely gonna come, but it's not the type of change that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans think nor want. We're coming into very, very harsh times concerning Jacob's trouble. And things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. And the only time that they're going to get better is when Esau Edom is taken out of his position of power. When that scepter, that staff in his hand is broken. Let's get that real quick. That's the only time things are going to get better, when the kingdom is established. But our people seek to get a betterment, a beneficial. They seek rest in the place of their captivity, in the place of their punishment. And you're not going to get rest in this place. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and verse. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and I'm just going to jump straight to the point. It says, this is Isaiah 14 and 5. It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Yeah, Esau has ruled in anger, in complete disorder, in complete madness and wickedness. And our people keep trying to justify this man, keep rallying behind this man. The scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. And Jake keeps putting their faith and trust in Esau Edom. You put your faith and trust in Esau, Edom, you're going to keep coming up disappointed. All right. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. So the whole earth is going to be at rest when Esau Edom is taken out of rulership, when he's taken out of power. The earth is not in rest right now. You know, the whole earth is groaning, moaning, and crying. The animals, nature, the people. The scriptures say when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, and when the wicked beareth rule, okay, the people mourn, roughly paraphrasing. People are not rejoicing. People are angry. That further proves who's in rulership, who's in power. Down to your average Joe Smo, you know, to a Salakia, to a lawyer, to a lawmaker, to a congressman, you know, all across the board, people are unhappy. Okay. Down to these MAGA supporters, people who voted for Trump, white supremacists. All right. Like the scripture says, if Satan, if Satan be against Satan, how can his kingdom stand? We can get that next. Let's finish this out. It says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Let me search for that precept real quick. All right. Let's go to, we can go to pull it Matthew and Mark. This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 26. And let's start in verse 25. And it says, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How will then his kingdom stand? And the answer is, his kingdom will not stand. Let's go to Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. And Esau Edom has an end, and he's approaching the end of his rulership. And these wicked elites know that. Okay, that's why you see the various different things taking place on the earth. Okay, and we're right there at the doorstep of all hell breaking loose, martial law being declared. All right, we're at the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. World War III. You know, heavy demonization, which is going to lead to persecution of the prophets, right? We're right there at the doorstep of that MOTB, which is the micro C-hip, being rolled out on the red carpet and being presented on a high level through various different tactics and means to the public, to the whole earth. And the majority of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to not only take the micro C-hip, but you're going to advocate for it. You're going to promote it, just like you do all of other Esau's products and philosophies. Okay? You know, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in these positions of power, and you know, these lawmakers, these people who have a voice, okay, down to your regular nigga is gonna be promoting the MOTB, persuading their friends, their family to take it. Okay? Even some of you that know that you're Israelites. This is Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Esau knows he has a short time. Okay. Let's go to Jeremiah. We can close out on Jeremiah. And let's go to chapter 51 and verse 7. Because this place, America, Babylon the Great, is crumbling right before your eyes. Right before you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans' faces. And they want this place to be restored. They want it to be rebuilt. They want it put back together. They want it to be healed. Okay? They want all these various different things under the rulership of their enemy, of Esau Edom. This is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. And see, our people are trying their very best to bring healing to Babylon the Great, but it's just not going to work. Verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. There's no healing for this place. Babylon the Great is being brought down by a higher power. America is being dismantled and ultimately is going to be destroyed by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And the majority of our people are ignorant to that fact. The scriptures speak about the Heavenly Father destroying Babylon the Great very, very quickly. Let's get that real quick. This is the besom of destruction. Scriptures say that it's only going to take 60 minutes to wipe through this place. Bear with me one moment. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and verse 23. This is Isaiah 14 and 23, and it says, I will also make it a possession for the bittern and the pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, say the Lord of hosts. Okay. Now let's also get the precept and revelation to that. Let's go to Revelation 18th chapter. Let's go down to verse let's go down to verse 10. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So this place is going to be destroyed very, very quickly, and all the time, energy, all the stock, the effort that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans put into Babylon the Great, America, and Esau, Edom, is all going to come to naught, right? It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So this place is going to be destroyed very, very quickly, okay? Now let's jump down to verse 17. It says, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Yeah, everything, all these nice buildings, these skyscrapers, these monuments, these relics, these museums, these malls, these cars, these mansions, okay, all these things that people look at and worship, essentially, that look at and see that they want to attain this, that they're basically dying to get, okay, these tangible things, okay, because ultimately this is what the majority of our people are concerned with. They're not concerned about the truth. They're not concerned about what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai thinks and getting right with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. They want to be successful. They want the money, the cars, the clothes. They want to be successful. They want the mansions. They want the American dream. Okay. Now they're coming to the reality that the American dream was exactly what Esau said it was, nothing but a dream. And it's something that you couldn't attain. Okay. And this is another thing that is causing a discord, okay, amongst our people. Our people are angry, they're mad, they're seeing that dream slip away. They're seeing that the American dream and success and all these things, retirement, being unattainable, right? It says, for in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning. The destruction of Babylon the Great is going to be so great and so immense that's going to be seen all over the planet Earth. Okay, the smoke of America burning is going to travel the globe and darken the skies. It says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? When they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city where were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. So this place can be destroyed very, very quickly. Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachach, Double honors to the head apostle, and that is a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Shalom to the elect.